Hi, this is my reflection for my e-portfolio based on my placement between January and March the 3rd. So today's reflection is going to be based mainly on a particular event in a lesson I carried out today. That was in a particularly challenging class with a football academy group, which consists of all 28 boys who play football 4 days a week and train 4 days a week, and 1 day a week they come into Strohs College and get taught a BTEC equivalent course, and their behaviour is pretty poor on the whole, and other teachers find them particularly challenging. But my role in the class is to assist on their work computers to make sure that grammar and is correct, that they're producing work that meets the demands of the assessment criteria, and also a personal aim of mine is to prompt them to develop their own skills rather than just ticking boxes, as is often the case in these sort of BTEC courses. So in this particular class I was assisting kids in the class, going from computer to computer, working one-on-one with some of the pupils. I came to a particularly challenging individual in the class who likes to be the centre of attention. Asked him how he's getting on, gave me a bit of a silly remark back, so I brushed it to one side. Seemed it was harmless, just trying to have a bit of fun, and so I brushed it to one side, ignored it, and asked him how he was doing with his work. He then proceeded to keep making fun of me, and then prompted a boy who was sitting to the right of me, so behind me as I was speaking to the boy, to start putting faces at me and making noises while I wasn't looking. And then as I turned to him, he'd stop, thinking that he was very funny, getting away with it. And my initial reaction to this made me feel very angry, to be honest. I felt like I've given these boys a lot of respect throughout the placement. Throughout the time I've been there, I've got to know them every week. They see me almost as much as the teachers that they see at Strohs 1 day a week, and they've given me very little respect, even less respect than they usually give the class teacher. So I felt very insecure initially, felt embarrassed. I could feel myself going a bit red, but I put my emotions to one side. I mean, if I'd acted on my emotions, I probably would have lost my temper, raised my voice, probably alienated some of them, or even given them the attention that they were looking for, as they were just making so many disruptions. Instead, I decided to reason with them, or show them respect. So I said to them, look, I don't have to be here. I'm trying to help you. I'm a volunteer here. I don't have to come into this class at all. I'm coming here to try and help you. Why can't you give me a bit of respect, like the respect I'm giving you? And with that, I left them, carried on helping other people in the class. And the reason why I gave them such a calm response and left them rather than dealing with them there and then, which was because that I felt like they wanted the attention. I felt like that's what they were driving for, that's why they were being disruptive. And if you, in my experience, if you're in a situation where the teacher gives you even less respect than you're giving them, or very little respect, then you're not going to develop a very good working attitude or a good learning environment. So I tried to diffuse the situation by going to help other people, and they calmed down without me sort of talking to them. I went to help other people to show them that, well, to do my job, but to also show them that I wasn't affected by their behaviour, and that I was willing to help other people as much as I was willing to help them, and they weren't going to get any special treatment. I then proceeded to come back to them and carried on as if nothing had happened. not try and make a big deal of the situation, and they both addressed me with respect, very sheepishly talked to me, allowed me to help them, produced good work, and improved their work, and then we moved on. So from that experience, I was very happy with the way I managed to detach my emotions from the situation, and apply the behaviour that I thought was necessary, as opposed to the behaviour that I wanted to react to. So I believe that it's very important to be able to do that, to be able to apply the behaviour that you think is appropriate for the results that you want, as opposed to what's going to make you feel better necessarily. I feel this is definitely a strength that comes from my ability to comes from my experience working with youth work, working with kids that you want to try and get alongside, you want to develop a rapport with, but they don't always make it easy for you. And a lot of the kids I've worked with over the years have had behaviour problems, anger management issues, as well as other ones, to name a few. And you have to deal with them in a very completely different way to how you'd naturally act with someone like yourself. And I definitely feel that getting experience of different sort of learning abilities, different environments where you have to develop a rapport with people in different ways. So, for example, in youth club setting, you can develop a rapport with students or with the youth who are present in a lot more friendly way than you would do in a school or a coaching setting. And likewise, in my coaching experience, I have to develop a working rapport with students where I have to have less concern for whether they like me necessarily, or whether we have a friendlier approach where their safety is more of a concern, and they're getting results from them in terms of performance, and their learning is more important than what they think of me necessarily. And so gaining a combination from that, as well as my own experiences throughout education, as I mentioned before, I felt like I've been given less respect from a teacher. I've often reacted very differently to them and very negatively and shut myself out. So reflecting on all those experiences, I found that I have developed a way to look objectively at situations and then apply the correct behavioural response, regardless of what my own emotions are. I can put that to one side. I think that's been a great asset. What I still need to aim to learn and develop is to be able to prevent that sort of situation from occurring in the first place. As much as I know my position at the school, having less authority than a class teacher, may have caused these pupils to think that they could give me less respect than a class teacher. When I step into the world of work myself and I step into my teaching role, I would like to think that I can have a learning environment and manage behaviour in a way that prevents that sort of thing from occurring in the first place. I feel like I could have done this by maybe developing a less friendly approach. Well, maybe not less friendly, maybe developing a more professional approach to the kids, so that they're aware that I have authority, and as much as I'm friendly and I'm reasonable, that I won't tolerate poor behaviour. This could also be diffused by the way I approach the kids in the first place. Usually everything's been fine in the past and the vets deal with anything as confrontational as this before, or disrespectful as this before. But in the future, as I mentioned, there's a silly comment made at the beginning which I chose to ignore and carry on with. Now, if I'd addressed that initially, it may have prevented the situation from escalating. So the next time this similar situation, I find myself in a similar situation, I may choose to diffuse the silly attitudes or the potentially insulting remarks early on, to stop this from happening again. I feel that as well within such a learning environment, how you react to one pupil is reflected on. How you react to one pupil indicates how you will react to all pupils, because they expect consistency from you. So I think it's very important to establish yourself quite early on in a learning environment, in a teaching environment particularly, where your authority will be examined and challenged by the pupils that you're in charge of.